it's always good.
Of course, for the backbone.
No, of course, and I think definitely this kind of support will steer Cameroon in making sure that they really try to qualify through this run convincingly this time around. But of course, the coach has really set up a formidable squad that will start this evening.
Well, Gabriel Sabo is in this competition, pretty much experienced. He coached Jela Overeem Sports Academy of Limbe, Fovu, Colombe, and of course Stade Renard in the Cameroonian Top Flight Championship. He's got a lot of experiences for himself, former deputy coach for the men's under-20 team, and leading the side, the indomitable Lionesses, from the tunnel onto the pitch, and for them to begin battle there with Tunisia. They are believing the magic would have to come in. The powerful, indomitable Lionesses against the Carthage Eagles. Let's see which of them would have the upper hand tonight here in Casablanca.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez s'il vous plaît, l'hymne national du Cameroun.
Pour remplir le devoir toujours.
Et maintenant, l'hymne national de la Tunisie.
مجد الزمن لقد صرخت في عروقنا الدماء نموت ويحيا الوطن إذا الشعب يوما أراد الحياة فلا بد أن يستجيب القدر فلا بد للليل أن ينجلي ولا بد للحي أن
Group B will take on Senegal in the knockout stages, which will be no easy assignment. To tell you what, while the runner-up will mostly likely to have to face Nigeria, depending on how Group C pans out. And so there's been some incredible changes in this particular group there, with Coach Gabriel Zabo trying to go a little bit tactical in the group, because he's dropped midfielder Fadima Kome in this particular group. This team, France-based Fadima Kome is out, and of course the place is going to be taken over by Ingo Mbelek, the life of the party lady in the Cameroonian setup. She plays the club football in Israel, and of course Catherine Mbegono is also being replaced by Mikhail BC Arbam of Houston Dash. And so those are changes made. and he decides to go with a 3-4-1-2 formation for this particular game. I'm not too sure what is going to be the plan there for the coach.
Well, I think the coach is quite clear on the mandate today is just to make sure that they push up the numbers and make sure that they apply the necessary pressure to the Tunisians, especially in the early stages of the match.
We do have the Ivorian officials who try to ensure that we have a very exciting time. Well, it is going to be a tournament. Ethiopian referee Lydia Tefese is going to be in charge. She'll be assisted by Fatia Jamomi from Morocco and Mariel also from so at the VR room. You definitely want to see what is going to happen. Alu Bedraman Sam also there giving us an indication we're going to have a very interesting one. So the referee from Letitia from Swatini also ran. There's been no change there for Tunisia, and coach is sticking to the team that has always been reliable and giving him what he wants. Eluji, Owi, Kabachi, Mame, all staying put there, and is also having some bit of a strong and reliable centre backs, and of course the back line has been very resilient, and so Ayadi, Abasi, Auni and Uni he believes will be the shield to prevent any attack from Cameroon.
Absolutely, I think countering the attack from Cameroon as they scored a 3-5-2, the Tunisians have decided to go for 4-4-2 with the flat central midfield pairing and just moving and dropping some of the midfielders into the right wing and the left wing, still sticking to the two strikers really to try and disturb the build-up where Johnson is considered a centre back of Cameroon, but also as an outlet in the transition.
Changes there by the Cameroonian coach Gabriel Zambo, trying as much as possible to make the midfield a bit compact, and so questions about the substitution of Fadima to Kome. It's had a very exciting time. That's 2 games played in the competition, and of course also having an Israel left back coming into this particular game, and so Catherine Charlie Begono, who's going to sit out today, and hoping at least there will be a lot of work there for Mikhaila Bisiabam there in this group, and so everything is set up for us to go in Group B. And the Ethiopian official would want to ensure that there's sanity. We've also seen some decisions there from the VR room, also changing the complexion of the results of matches being played. And so there's also the game to look out for. It's a Zambia-Togo affair. And can also change who stays as the 3rd best team in Group B. And so here we go. It is the indomitable Lions is kicking off things pretty early here in Casablanca, and giving us an indication that they have a huge task against the Tunisians, who definitely are going to count on the work rates of the forwards Algi and Eluji, and all the time you do have on the flanks Kabachi, Mame and Limiti are staying at the heart of midfield, and Chudi will be operating from wide left.
The Tunisians just really trying to match up in that central midfield, just being mindful of the double pivots that the Cameroonians have.
They always want to play slick and keep the balls among themselves, but of course it nearly was going to be a bit of a scare there, so this is going to be an opportunity, but it has to really be dealt with. The goalkeeper, Chabrani.
But just making her intentions clear as she comes back into the starting 11, as well as Belek, and the idea of having Belek at the top of that triangle is to really try and get those combination passes that the Cameroonians lacked in the previous match, and hopefully she can thread those through passes for the speedy strike up there about who now you can see that the intention is to try and locate her.
Coach Gabriel Samo has over 15 years of coaching experience, trained in Germany, and has also worked in Brazil as an intern. His son, Zabu Bello, is also a member of the Cameroonian U17 national team. So in terms of football, he's an ex-footballer as well, and so football runs in the family.
It certainly does, and this explains his passion coming through to assist the women's football team.
Cameroon setting things up early, trying to unsettle the Tunisians, trying to keep possession, putting on some bit of pressure. So there's a lovely piece of work there, there's a great turn, and they start to hit it, and they hit the front goal! It is the early start there for Cameroon. the starting and the smiling team there. Look at the turn, beautifully laid for Michaela Bam. She just turned well with a left foot, palm, and that's it. Could have done better, Jabrani. She simply couldn't have. And so Michaela Bam, the Houston Dash lady, and former Paris FC and Real Betis, made a senior international debut back in November 2018 versus Zambia, scoring twice and helped West Virginia Mountaineers win 2016 NCAA championship game. And she scored the only goal in the semi-final versus North Carolina as well. And she's here and has scored. I tell you what, she scored 42 goals and earned 16 assists, scored equalized against Washington Spirit. So there's plenty. Well, the VAR is going to look at this, but that's going to be offside or otherwise. But I tell you what, Michaela Bam will be hoping it goes in to add to the tally of goals she scored.
This would be a great start for the Cameroonians, considering that they are indeed under pressure to making it through in the group. But it was a really, really slight margin of that offside. I hope Abam was able to hold her line to just break that offside line.
When you take a look at the record back in the US, 42 goals and 16 assists. So I'm surprised that she's been able to put a lovely form to work tonight.
I'm sure she's been itching to get on the score sheet, and what a way it would be if it is that the goal stands. But yet again, just looking at how well the Cameroonians orchestrated the goal. Yango, who I thought in the previous game really struggled with getting those quick passes moving through. This time around, she takes two touches on the ball, locates Njoya, who now is drifting in the central of that striking force. I think she's quite deadly in that role.
Well, the change came from former Lorient player and now playing for Kazakhstan, Catherine Begono, to sit out and going with the 3 back. There were concerns as to whether it's going to work out, but it appears there is some bit of a waiting team. What's going to happen with this particular game, and seeing Cameroon lead here. But again, VAR would have to tell us whether it is an offside or not, or whether it is a goal. There'll be questions to be asked. Still looking forward. There'll be moment there for Abam if we're there to be in her shoes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it was a well-taken goal from Abam. Striker's instincts yet again, Ben. You control it with your right foot and have the ability to finish with your left. I think that was really, really well tucked in.
Again, VAR confirming. It's been given. Well, so that is the lead there for the indomitable Lionesses. They've been craving for this goal, at least to set up an exciting moment there. And these Tunisians conceding a goal against Zambia. Now, early on, they have conceded just 3 minutes into the game. And Michaela Bam, the Houston Dash forward, gifting the Cameroonians the first goal here. It would be a little bit of a concern there to Samuel Ndosi. Really doesn't like tweaking the starting lineup for the side. He's kept faith in this team for a very long time.
I'm sure he would be a little concerned, but so early stages of the game, not what he was expecting. But certainly, according to Cameroon's plans, this is how they would have wanted to get the game going, just to their advantage, but also maybe to try and maximize and score as many goals, because as we know, qualifying for the next round, there are so many permutations.
So that's the weighted pass that came in for Abam to get a goal. So there's a special pass that came through from Genevieve Ngombelek, who's played for UEFA Champions League football with Minsk. And we're told that Ngombelek is popular among the teammates who call her Mbelek, removing the Ingo, which means girl in several languages spoken. Tell you what, she's the life of the party, especially in the absence of Henrita Kaba from Morocco. She's always the one leading them and helping the side to achieve what they obviously came here to do in this competition. Joya Jara. Ngokia and tries the efforts. And this time, Jabrani would have to deal with it. She was a little bit nervy or nervous back against Zambia. She couldn't quite deal with some of the aerial balls and had difficulties, but again it was a clever effort that had to come in from the indomitable Lionesses, clearly indicating their intention in the game, Andy.
They are indeed, and the message in the change room had to be, we have to start off on our best foot, and it was really to make sure that they apply the necessary pressure, but also just fine-tune some of those areas where I thought they lacked a bit, and that is just the control of the game, the accurate passing, but also in the final third, just to make sure that the weight of the pass complements the run, and I think Abab just really did well to just drift off the shoulder and hold that offside.
The referee for today's game from Ethiopia, Lydia Tefese. She loves basketball. She actually was doing a lot on basketball before drifting to football. And she, 42 years of age, still commanding and leading the first there with Tunisia looking to find the equalizing goal there. Ball drifted to left-hand side and always waiting for a little bit of a touch on it there, but couldn't quite deal with it with the captain on the side, Algie, who's been looked at to be the one leading the affairs and giving them what they have been expecting in the game. Well, she did captain the side against Zambia, but today it's going to be Chaima Albasi, the centre-back, who's commanding things there for the Tunisians.
I think just speaking about the referee's interests and just her caliber in women's football, I think I still have a bone to pick with her. She once gave me a yellow card.
Oh, so that's a little bit of a conflict.
But he's suspended. But she's an amazing referee who I think over the years has really just risen to you know, the standards, FIFA standards.
Always looking for Gabriel. And again, not the best of control. Gabriel Abodi Ugwene will take charge, and of course she's taking charge. The CSK forward was absent during the indomitable Lions pre-AFCON friendly against Senegal. And the captain for the side really is playing a 7th AFCON on the Cameroonians. Brown would have to collect this one without any threat. Well, Zambia also missed a second-minute penalty in the other good game being played, and scoreless.
Very interesting that tonight both games kick off at the same time, and they're going to be doing exactly what we're doing, just keeping tabs on the scores, and which is quite important. And that's why earlier on I did mention that it will be important for Cameroon to come through and win convincingly with as many goals.
Of course, they are taking command of the game. Just about 10 minutes gone already, and we have the indomitable Lions just leading. Beautiful goal there from Michaela Bam. Gweni Gabriel. It's the same type of team play from the Tunisians, and so Ingo Belek commanding and twisting and turning in midfield. It's certainly going to be a huge work on the wings there by and Zana. It's a lovely piece of work for Njoya Ajara. She had a very exciting tournament back in 2018 in Ghana. Njoya, the team placed 3rd. Bronze medalist at a tournament where Nigeria picked their 9th AFCON title. It's been a little of agitation back then in the camp of the Lions, just because a lot of fans were expecting them to come up blasting wide in this particular group, and that's not been the story there. But since they have Jeanette Yango, who also played in Serbia and Germany, also oiling things in midfield, it appears they have a very strong side, and that's the reason we're looking at the back 3 play from the coach Gabriel Sambo. So playing with a wing back way of ensuring that there's a lot of speed. And lovely, again, the light of the party, and she is indeed giving life here to Cameroon in Casablanca.
She has this finesse on the ball. It's like she's enjoying, playing football, and I think she's exactly what the Cameroonians needed this evening, just to really get into those tight pockets of spaces and release a good pass.
It's the search for it again. It's Ajara here. It's a good start there for the Cameroonians because they needed this particular energy to unsettle the side. And of course I was talking about Ngombelek and how they have always loved the way she plays, and you can see the supporters coming here to give almost everything out for her, and she did give you something to smile about, didn't she? Piece of work there from Cameroon, and of course Jabrani shouldn't have a problem dealing with it. Of course they're having a good time playing wide on the left hand side, seeing plenty of the ball there, trying to move forward. There's still going to be a lot of balls here from Ngok. Infometu sends it wide again. In total control, dominating possession and dominating play almost everywhere, and now beginning to show that they are in. The sleeping giants have woken up all of a sudden.
And if you've been following WAFCON this year, especially yesterday's games where we saw Burkina Faso and Uganda, you would know that ball possession doesn't count for anything in this match. If you have much of the ball possession, you have to maximize and create goal-scoring opportunities and actually be clinical in front of goal. So a match yesterday very tightly contended. One team a red card early in the game, dominated. Uganda dominated much of the ball possession, but when 90 minutes whistle went, it was 2-2, Ben, which means you can have as much of the ball possession, but if you do not utilize it to your favor, you will be in trouble.
Absolutely, and that's the reason you have to be very clinical and efficient up front, not to waste enough time. Ayadi trying to find space up front. And this time he'll be chased there by Levin Shettet, Uriel Awoni. He's been playing a club football in Napoli, Italy. She also had some stints with Jean Reims in France as well as Madrid in Spain, born in Yaoundé. She arrived in France at the age of 6. She could also have chosen to play for France. She was part of the France youth international teams. And now the back three of the side, Awuna, Johnson, Leto, and of course all of them playing the role. So Gabriel Zabo should be excited now that the team is leading.
No, of course, this is probably the kind of start that he would have wanted and expected from the girls, because they are indeed forced for a response this evening. But interesting to see how these early opening stages, Gabrielle has done so much running. I feel that in order for her to maintain the kind of tempo of this game, she has to vary her playing style. She is known for her speed, but in certain moments it would be good for her just to drop, because like we had mentioned, maybe the speed and the mileage on the legs might not be the same, but she is one of the players that they will need for the full 90 minutes.
Absolutely. Ajara, always with a quick feet, ball sent to the left hand side. Ajara is waiting to pounce on this one, and it is Mbelek. Again, you see that from her, entertaining the crowd. They love every move from her. And comes the captain, Ongwena Gabriel. A little bit of a cutout there from the Tunisians, means that it's going to be an opportunity for the Lionesses to come in here. It was only who had a little touch, or the final touch on the ball for a throw-in.
Great cover there, just to really make sure that they intercept that pass. Otherwise, the defender would have just overlapped and got him in a good cross.
She's just there waiting and still fighting. Claudine here. Again, it's been all the ball has been played in the half of the Tunisians. They haven't really been able to have time to come out and play their beautiful football in terms of squeezing passes together, very tight areas on Guano. And it's going to be Corner kick here for the indomitable Lionesses, who lead by a goal to nil.
And I'm sure they certainly expected that Cameroon would come out guns blazing, hence the change in the formation, just to really try and give them a bit of cover, but also to be as compact as possible, because they know the threat that Cameroonians impose, especially with the presence of Melek in that top midfield, and as an attacking midfielder.
Just racing in there is one of the oldest players to have debuted for the indomitable Lionesses, Ella Johnson. She'll be 34 very soon. Ball sipped into a part. Ella Johnson. Ooh, that's a very clumsy tackle there. Foot-tie tackle. Against the captain for the indomitable Lionesses there, who has been penalized here for that foul here. Born in Douala, represented Russia clubs for a decade. Gabriel Abodi Ugweni is making her 7th WAFCON for the indomitable Lionesses. Pretty much experience, captain.
Pretty much experience indeed, and I think in that situation she could have used the experience a lot better. Those aerial duels, ones that are quite tricky, as she receives a yellow card, the first of the game, because it's always just about the headers, and if you go with your foot up, you're bound to be cautioned. And I think she would have probably just read the situation a lot better. Maybe just play a ball back for an oncoming midfielder to recycle the ball and get a good cross.
Gabriel Gweni was scouted back in 2011 and helped the team to win the gold medal at the All Africa Games in Mozambique and scoring the game-winning goal in the semi-final against South Africa. And also competed at the 2012 London Olympics and scored the team's lone goal in the tournament during a 3-1 loss to New Zealand. In the 2015 FIFA Women's World Cup in Canada, she scored an equalizer in the team's 2-1 win over Switzerland. So she's got a couple of goals there under her belts for the team, the indomitable Lionesses. She's also been part of the history-making squad, representing the country in a lot of competitions. So the captain would obviously come in to show a lot of skills and want to propel the team. And one of the disappointment that came in from the team, this particular side, has to do with their drawn game against Zambia and that of Togo, putting them in a very precarious position. Those who say that this team should be able to avoid South Africa or Nigeria.
Which is interesting. If it is that you have to get to the top, you have to make sure that you beat some of the best in this competition, which will include the likes of South Africa. But the conversation, though, Ben, around this particular tournament this year has been just the phasing in, the gradual phasing in of new players into the different national teams. And Cameroon are no different. And I think it will certainly disturb maybe a bit of the momentum or the fluidity that they know. But the integration of the new players, overseas-based players as well, I think is something that should be considered, and particularly this year's.
Ajara turns well and still looking for some. Ngombelek here, and Ogweni given a chance. She's in the box there. Ogweni drifted back again, and it still couldn't well be connected. It has been the Cameroonians who simply are enjoying almost every bit of a possession. They still come back and win it in midfield as they control and navigate almost everything there. They're sailing pretty high in this game. Claudine looking for Ogweni, and she's been fouled here. Already we've seen a yellow card going to the indomitable Lionesses there. The Uni could be punished as well.
Uni was just caught late in that instant, and Gabriel was certainly gone.
I think the wing-back play there from the indomitable Lionesses is working out. Amanda having Ongweni on the right wing and then Zana on the left-hand side. They simply have been very resolute there. They also supporting Nawuna and Johnson as well as Claudine, the 3-back. We've seen a lot of runs there, and in Ngombelek here, Gwena is giving a chance to see if she can recycle the ball back in, and this time it's a corner kick. They've had a lot of attacking plays into the Tunisian half. I think the Cameroonians are beginning to show that they are a team to look out for in the quarterfinals if they have to be there. Gabriel Ngwani here for the corner kick. Halfway through the first half already here in Casablanca. It's Cameroon lead by goal to nil. Then they have this set piece, ball drifting it. And, that's a training ground effort there from Claudine. That's a quality pass going into the box, and was always looking for Ngombele to capitalize on that and to connect on Mivisi Kanali, actually hitting the ball wide, but still didn't work out. Kabach. Match against Togo. Cameroon went with a 4-3-3 formation. They tried to see they can have a lot of attacking fluidity into their play, but they didn't work out. And a bit of frustration there for Abassi, the captain for Tunisia, because the team is not really pushing forward and losing the balls in midfield. They haven't really been able to be a little bit flexible and mobile in pushing the balls. They have been cut out by the Cameroonians, who really have packed up their midfield in Zani and Yango and Ngong, who really centrally are playing in there to stopping almost every ball that will be coming in from Mame and Lamti. It's been difficult for them to do that.
It has certainly been very difficult for them to really even string a few passes together. The superiority, numerical superiority that the Cameroonians have in midfield is certainly working for them, because they just interchange these positions and just really try to force the Tunisian back, and they've succeeded up to so far.
Giving a lot of free kicks away to the Cameroonians, and now they will have this one to be whipped into the box and scored in behind it. And Double Tabolan was just shown that they are rather going to find a way to score more goals as ball being drifted into the penalty box. So Tunisia is going to be recycled back again, and then there's an effort here, and too many of the balls ricocheting the body of Tunisian, and they have to deal with the corner kick. We have 3 corner kicks so far for Cameroon. There seems to be a little bit of a problem there for the Tunisian goalkeeper. She's, do recall, she had a little bit of a problem against Zambia. VAR is coming in to indicate some bit of a problem there, and we're looking at that. Talk about the VAR and decisions that had to be taken on the pitch there. There are those who say there was going to be a little bit of a work there on it. The referees have been utilizing that. Some decisions have also been questioned by some pundits who feel that some calls have been pretty much harsh on some teams. But we've seen the VAR confirming the goals scored and also denying some goals also being scored in the competition. Only gives it away now. It's set on Ngwana for Cameroon. She driven the ball into the box there and cleared off. And again, Ngombele couldn't connect. Not too sure again what was the problem. Ogier for Tunisia. Claudine has been hit in the upper part of her body, and she goes to ground about it.
It's interesting that you raised the concern about the Tunisian goalkeeper, as she now again, I think she hurt herself, but it had been a concern in the previous game that she was heavily strapped on the right thigh. As we see, just this tackle, a late tackle yet again, and I think the Tunisians have been second best in every regard. Every duel that is concerning the pitch here, the goalkeeper again clears her lines, does not have a clue of where the ball was.
Ngombele turns well, and again, she's been the one they look out for with this drive, and certainly was going to give something special there for the indomitable Lionesses. They would have loved for this ball to hit the back of the net. I tell you what, it was a lovely and exciting effort there. Sometimes you say nearly, but nearly never kills a bird. Great effort from Janet Yango.
Yango yet again just showing her qualities, and I know very well in that central midfield when she gets the confidence, the ability to take long range shots, as those ones really certainly give her the extended confidence. But she's been doing absolutely great this evening in terms of just making sure she's solid in midfield, getting just minimum touches on the ball, just getting those passes all the way through to the strikers.
I'll just give it a chance. Goalkeeper of the line. She's looking for a bit of support there. The attacking player, she goes to, she thought she'd been fouled there. And of course, we're seeing 64% of possession there to 35 there for the Tunisians. Won the sets about the being second best in the competition so far. They were second best against Zambia. And now they seem to have a problem there with their centre forward, Mariam Algi, who was down and asking for some bit of medical support. 10 versus 10 in conflict, one goes down.
I think as she landed, she might have just bumped her head quite a bit hard, but see it again, Young would just pick pockets of the ball just to really add that necessary aggression and pressure. They just want to get on the ball, the Cameroonians, to recycle and just to keep going. But it's almost it's 29 minutes now on the clock. They have to double their efforts in front of goal and just maximize those chances that they create in the final third.
Tunisian coach Samuel Landosi did say that their team was going to be the underdogs in this particular fixture. Quoting him, he said the team have experience in this competition, they know its inner works. And so he was expecting Cameroon really to come out and be that effective in the game. In contrast, Gabriel Zabo did indicate that Tunisia were going to be the favourites in this bitter battle. The Tunisians are going to ground and feeling a little bit of the physicality of the game, and there's going to be a little bit of stern words there from the Ethiopian official. Amti also being fouled here. She nudged a little bit behind by the midfielder for the Indomitable Lionesses, Monique Ngok. Half an hour gone, I should say, and still Cameroon 1, Tunisia 0. It's a Group B action. Meantime, we're still monitoring the action between Zambia and Togo. Until now, the Zambians admit a second-minute penalty as Tunisia tried to find space and come forward. Ayadi losing possession. And Yango would have to push this team forward again and cast in Ogweri. This time, Ajara was the one who had possession in midfield. And Oni sliding to take the ball away from the captain. Need to have the crosses into the box. Haven't really been able to do that, the Indomitable Lionesses, but they have a goal to show for the effort, at least after 31 minutes of play. And those who were in a long face, haven't seen a team conceding in 2 games played. An explosive run against Togo. The team hasn't really been the same after that. Yardi. The backline of the Cameroonians have been pretty much strong there, and they have been able to contain the runs of the Tunisian attack and always try to ensure that they win the balls before it even gets to the half. So quick feet. job done by Iloji. Again, Sabrine Iloji has also been a little bit silent in the game because she's been taken out by the wing back, Claudine.
Iloji hasn't really seen much of the ball as you'd want to, because they have just been forced back, and strikers too have a responsibility in defense.
Mbelek. Yango. So it's going to be the pace that's going to work out up front. And this time, Ajara just saw the ball going past there. She knew she was not going to deal with it. She was not going to get access to the ball, so she wouldn't even try at all.
A beautiful run there from Abama yet again, just using her speed to advantage, waiting and waiting for a teammate to be in the box, and just really overhits that one.
Iloji. I've seen a little bit of physicality in the game in terms of the tackles that have become the notches. Sometimes a little bit of a bearable there for the Tunisians. Meantime, Ndosi would have to still give it out. And again, we're just worried about the way he's not been able to, or never responds to defeat, not tweaking the team, not making changes, but sticking to the reliable first 11. The starting team, and making sure that they continue to have that momentum to go forward. And again, Ellen Johnson will clear the lines there for Cameroon.
I think with this particular match, instead of really tweaking and introducing new starters in the starting lineup, he really then tweaked a bit of the formation. And maybe that's just to his advantage, that he has many of those utility players that can slot into different positions on the field.
Well, Zambia lead Togo by a goal to nil. And prior to the game, Zambia had 4 points. Now, if we end this way, even though we're some minutes away from the 90 minutes, still will be seeing what will be happening in this game. And Gabriel Ogwene turns well. Mbelek turns again, recycles it, finds space. Ningok gets it in. It's been blocked. Zanda turns it out, and she would have to deal with it. She's not been able to hit the balls into central areas for the attackers, because every time she either allows Uni to hit the balls in for the forwards to chase. We've seen a lot of passing movement there from Cameroon, 134 to 83, and so far there's been 11 fouls there, 6 to Tunisia and 5 to Cameroon.
With the passing accuracy just improving a bit there for the Cameroonians at 63.4%, and I think that is a massive improvement, and it is quite evident on the park in the way in which Belek is really orchestrating that midfield, making sure that she's linking up play to the likes of Abam and Joya. But yet again, they're just still falling short in the weight of the pass, the decision making, especially from Gabrielle. And I think if those elements can really improve, there would be fire moving in front.
Plus, in as much as the Cameroon are enjoying and entertaining themselves, it is Zambia 2, Togo 1.
That escalated really quick. But yet again, Ben, it has to be one of those things, the sense of urgency, but the number of goals that will eventually count for you or against you.
Iluji was looking for the run of Auj, Sabrine, and it's still going to be a long way out. She's indicating in this particular group and how things are going to pan out, because the third best is going to advance to the quarterfinals, and Lydia Tefese having some bit of a go at Ogwena, because she thought that she was rather the one fouled here, not the other way around.
And we all know you have to play until the referee blows the whistle.
Well, this time they have been in here in their numbers to support the side. The Cameroonians, they've been in Casablanca and trying to ensure that they give the necessary support there for the side. Zbao, who's in charge, and the goal there for the indomitable lioness. There's a little bit of a work there for Lamti. It's a right-footed ball by Kabachi. Tunisia looking to take advantage of the ball to the far side, and again it comes off the body of a Cameroonian player, goes up for a corner kick. And again the centre back Bassi was also lurking around and hoping to be the target on the ball.
Nervy moments there for the Cameroonians. They would really have to be aware of the aerial threats that the Tunisians possess, but also just that ability and quality technically where set pieces are concerned.
And here comes Iman Choudi for the set piece here for Tunisia. Well, apart from the goal she scored, the early goal against Togo are just not lived up to the billing in the competition. Again, she failed to score against Zambia, and now she's been instructed to be a little bit of a professional in the box and not to create any problem there, and she's having a go at Ella Johnson. So here we go with Tunisia again looking to change things and reform their play, and Bao just comes out to punch it away.
Bao doing ever so well, just making sure that her presence is felt in that 18-yard box as she gets a good punch of the ball, and just really gives the Cameroonians some breathing room.
Another best of a control coming in for the Gabriel Zabo side. But there's still a bit of a hope there for the Tunisians, who are hoping they can still change the narrative in the group. And Estelle Johnson coming in with a tackle there. She would go, and she would turn 34 on July 21, a day before Amanda's birthday.
We're gonna have a big party. I think she's been really amazing, a great addition for the Cameroonians in that heart of defense. But she's one of the players who will normally initiate the build-up from the back, but also gives a good command. That last line of defense, just breaking the attacks from the position.
Well, it's an interesting story about Estelle Johnson. She was born in Cameroon to an American father and a Malian mother. Grew up in Colorado, received the first senior call-up in May 2019, and made a debut in a 4-0 loss to Spain as well. Well, she was named in the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup roster and played every minute of all 4 matches played. And she had one season in Australia with Sydney FC. Cameroon, I think they've been a little bit out of steam, but they were still trying to get Gabriel Ongweni off. The skills are coming out. They were expected to have come out against Zambia, but they froze. And again, they were expected to also come out against Togo, and that was also locked up. But now everything is free. The energy they started the game with, the Cameroonians seem to have gone a little bit. I'm sure on the monitoring the affairs there between Zambia and Togo, this game is turning out to be a bit interesting there for fans who will be interested to know which team, which side is going to top the group. But that decision comes in there from the Ethiopian official there against Cameroon. A lot to be thinking. There was a little bit of a Not a feeble touch on her, but the foul had already gone against the 14-shirted in Gog here. Monique, who is adjudged to have fouled the Tunisian player, and the fans are not excited at all. You can see the argument in the stands about the call there from the Ethiopian official. Again, Bao drops it, comes out, not able to deal with the situation, and Tunisia still finding it difficult to sort things out. Finally, Anger Bao, Bayelsa Queen's goalkeeper, and fresh from winning the 2022 Nigeria Women's Championship, played for Loves Football Club in Cameroon before he moved to Nigeria, making that save there. And a call against the indomitable Lionesses as we approach the first half.
The Cameroonians seem to be making a few of those elementary mistakes, which are now really breaking their momentum and flow in the game. Unnecessary fouls in very critical areas to the Tunisians' advantage. The goalkeeper here, it again goes out. I thought she could have handled the ball a lot better, but this time around, just not really convincing.
Well, they're convincing as the Tunisians try to find a way in terms of the utilization of the set pieces, while the fans hope to see them equalize. Well, Cameroon have failed to finish in the top 4 once. They failed to find themselves in a very good position back in the year 2000 and exited in the group there. Ayadi trying to shepherd and control the ball well. The right back.
The two strikers there just combining well to close all the passing angles and just really force the Tunisian back all the way to the goalkeeper for them to restart.
Well, they haven't found any space there, allowing the Cameroonians to always take advantage with Adjara drifting to the left-hand side, occasionally trying to get things done with Nguena. And Adjara again, a little bit of twists and turns. So we're doing 3 minutes of added time in the first 45 minutes, still being the Cameroonians looking to get a second before half-time. Ngo Belek was a target there. Gog trying to chase this one. Ouch picks up the pieces there for Tunisia.
Great interception from Gog. But I think my fair summation of the half, Cameroon really starting out guns blazing and making sure that they get the much crucial goal to put them ahead. But to compliment the Tunisians as well, just for resisting and just sticking to their organization defensively and making sure that the score doesn't really double or triple. And I think then this still gives them a lifeline to come back in the second half.
Well, you can see the despair there by the Tunisian coach. Again, the notch came in there from Lamti, who felt that she wasn't guilty of that decision, which has gone against the Carthage Eagles. Estella Johnson shift the ball to a counterpart in the heart of defense, Awuna. Tell you what, things are shaping up for the Zambians, who are leading Togo by 3-1.
This is really putting a lot of pressure now on the Cameroonians, and with the number of opportunities that they've had in this first half, they should be at least 3 goals up, just to make things a lot more interesting up there, as Gabriel again draws a foul in a very critical area, and hopefully they can maximize on this opportunity just before the break of half time.
But just before the break, it's The last-ditch attempt there by the Cameroonian to see if they can't get a second before the break. Well, the fans still charged and trying to get the team to find a way to make it 2-0, because the story that's coming through in the other group game indicates that the Zambia really having a field day against the Togolese, who seem to be the whipping the team in this particular group, except to say the very first point was gained against the indomitable Lionesses, which of course was celebrated by the Togolese as though they have won the tournament already. It's a free kick here, lifted into the far post and welcomed and well collected there by the Tunisian goalkeeper. She sends the ball deep into the right-hand side. Well, so that would sum up the performance of the indomitable Lionesses in the first 45 minutes. They did have to come out pretty hard, and when the Mikel Abam's first goal of the tournament came in for them, it was all but settled and expected at least we could have a second before the break. But now at half-time, it is still Cameroon 1, Tunisia 0. They
put a ball in Africa and watch nations come together. Put a ball in Africa and hear many languages from adoring fans become one voice. Put a ball in Africa and see African players become global stars, bringing hope and unity to the continent. It might just be a match to the rest of the world, but to Africa, it is 90 minutes of solidarity.
Hanging in the air, and that's the opening goal.
90 minutes of I and you are me. 90 minutes of goals, counterattacks, tackles and dribbles, victories.
Another beautiful one, and into the back of the net,
and tears. So put a ball in Africa and watch countries become one nation, one spirit, one soul. Because this African Cup of Nations, only one team will be playing. Africa United. #We love it here.
Love sports? Well, you're sure to love Wednesdays as well.
Ibench lethu lijimile, so throughout these 60 minutes, it truly is going to be epic.
Join Oliswa Zondo and Shampunizer as they dish it up for you. Get the juice, the 411. Get entertained and get to know your favorite athletes. Sport at 10. Live on SABC 1, Sport Channel on OpenView 124, SABC DTT, and on Telkom 1.
Well, Gabriel Sabo is in this competition, pretty much experienced. He coached Jela Overeem Sports Academy of Limbe, Fovu, Colombe, and of course Stade Renard in the Cameroonian Top Flight Championship. He's got a lot of experiences for himself, former deputy coach for the men's under-20 team, and leading the side, the indomitable Lionesses, from the tunnel onto the pitch, and for them to begin battle there with Tunisia. They are believing the magic would have to come in. The powerful, indomitable Lionesses against the Carthage Eagles. Let's see which of them would have the upper hand tonight here in Casablanca. And so here we go. It is the indomitable Lionesses kicking off things pretty early here in Casablanca, and giving us an indication that they have a huge task against the Tunisians, who definitely are going to count on the work rates of the forwards Algi and Iluji. And all the time you do have on the flanks Kabachi, Mame and Limiti are staying at the heart of midfield, and Chudi will be operating from wide left.
The Tunisians just really trying to match up in that central midfield, just being mindful of the double pivots that the Cameroonians have.
They always want to play slick and keep the balls among themselves, but of course it nearly was going to be A bit of a scare there, so this is going to be an opportunity, but it has to really be dealt with. The goalkeeper, Chaprani.
It certainly does, and this explains his passion coming through to assist the women's football team.
Cameroon setting things up early, trying to unsettle the Tunisians, trying to keep possession, applying some bit of pressure. So there's a lovely piece of work there, there's a great turn, and they start to hit it, and they have the front goal! It is the early start there for Cameroon!
That's what's up. Well orchestrated goal, just with Yango just turning the ball possession over, really threading it through to Joya, who has come through with the perfect assist. Abam comes back into the starting 11 and gives the coach valuable reason as to why she's starting this evening.
And so the starting and the smiling team there. Look at the turn, beautifully laid for Michaela Bam. She just turned well with her left foot, palm, and that's it. Could have done better, Jabrani. She simply couldn't have. And so Michaela Bam, the Houston Dutch lady, and former Paris FC and Real Betis, made a senior international debut back in November 2018 versus Zambia, scoring twice and helped West Virginia Mountaineers win 2016 NCAA championship game. And she scored the only goal in the semi-final versus North Carolina as well. And she's here and has scored. I tell you what, she scored 42 goals and earned 16 assists, scored equalized against Washington Spirit. So there's plenty. Well, the VAR is going to look at this, but that's going to be offside or otherwise. But I tell you what, Michaela Bam will be hoping it goes in to add to the tally of goals she scored.
This would be a great start for the Cameroonians, considering that they are indeed under pressure to making it through in the group. But it was a really, really slight margin of that offside. I hope Abam was just able to hold her line to just break that offside line.
When you take a look at the record back in the US, 42 goals and 16 assists. So I'm surprised that she's been able to put a lovely form to work tonight.
I'm sure she's been itching to get on the score sheet, and what a way it would be if it is that the goal stands. But yet again, just looking at how well the Cameroonians orchestrated the goal. Yango, who I thought in the previous game really struggled with getting those quick passes moving through. This time around, she takes two touches on the ball, locates Njoya, who now is drifting in the central of that striking force. I think she's quite deadly in that role.
Well, a change came from a Lorient player and now playing for Kazakhstan, Catherine Begono, to sit out and going with the three back. There were concerns as to whether it's going to work out, but it appears there is some bit of a waiting team. What's going to happen with this particular game, and seeing Cameroon lead here. But again, VAR would have to tell us whether it is an offside or not, or whether it is a goal. There'll be questions to be asked. Still looking forward. There'll be a moment there for Abam if we're there to be in the shoes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it was a well-taken goal from Abam. Striker's instincts yet again, Ben. You control it with your right foot and have the ability to finish with your left. I think that was really, really well tucked in.
Again, VAR confirming. It's been given. Ingon Belek turns well. And again, she's been the one they look out for with this drive. And certainly was going to give something special there for the indomitable Lionesses. They would have loved for this ball to hit the back of the net. I tell you what, it was a lovely and exciting effort there. Sometimes you say nearly, but nearly never kills a bird. Great effort from Janet Yango. Well, they haven't found any space there, allowing the Cameroonians to always take advantage with Ajara drifting to the left-hand side, occasionally trying to get things done with Nguena. And Ajara again, a little bit of twists and turns. So we're doing 3 minutes of at a time in the first 45 minutes. Still being the Cameroonians looking to get a second before half-time. Belek was a target there. Gog trying to chase this one. Ouch picks up the pieces there for Tunisia.
Great interception from Gok. But I think my fair summation of the half, Cameroon really starting out guns blazing and making sure that they get the much crucial goal to put them ahead, but to compliment the Tunisians as well, just for resisting and just sticking to their organization defensively and making sure that the score doesn't really double or triple. And I think then this still gives them a lifeline to come back in the second half.
We can see the despair there by the Tunisian coach. Again, the nudge came in there from Lamptey, who felt that she wasn't guilty of that decision, which has gone against the Carthage Eagles. Stella Johnson shift the ball to a counterpart in the heart of defense, Awuna. Tell you what, things are shaping up for the Zambians, who are leading Togo by 3-1.
This is really putting a lot of pressure now on the Cameroonians, and with the number of opportunities that they've had in this first half, they should be at least 3 goals up, just to make things a lot more interesting up there, as Gabriel again draws a foul in a very critical area, and hopefully they can maximize on this opportunity just before the break and half time.
But just before the break, it's a last-ditch attempt there by the Cameroonians to see if they can't get a second before the break. Well, the fans still charged and trying to get a team to find a way to make it 2-0, because the story that's coming through in the other group game indicates that Zambia really having a field day against the Togolese, who seem to be the whipping the team in this particular group, except to say the very first point was gained against the Indomitable Lionesses, which of course was celebrated by the Togolese as though they have won the tournament already. It's a free kick here, lifted into the far post and welcomed and well collected there by the Tunisian goalkeeper. She sends the ball deep into the right-hand side. Well, so that would sum up the performance of the Indomitable Lionesses in the first 45 minutes. They did have to come out pretty hard, and when the Mikel Abam's first goal of the tournament came in for them, it was all but settled and expected at least we could have a second before the break. But now at half-time, it is still Cameroon 1, Tunisia 0.
The queens of the continent will gather for the beautiful game in Morocco. Banyana aim to make their presence felt. The fight to be crowned will be an enduring one, but Banyana have their battle plan ready. Mzansi, it's time to be part of something beautiful. Together, #we will witness Banyana rise to glory. Catch the 2022 Women Africa Cup of Nations Morocco live on SABC Sport channels and SABC radio stations, proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Commemorate Mandela Month with us on SABC.
Lights out, W Series is underway. Oh, there's a hit! Jamie Chadwick's been hit! Oh, look at this! There's a change in the lead! And there's the move.
Head down and get up to the car in front.
Brilliant victory in the wet for Emma Kimmerleinen. Alice Powell gets through to give her the championship lead. Jamie Chadwick retains her crown in some style. This is W Series.
Banyana have made magic. They have done us proud. Now they take on another challenge, which will hopefully see them victorious again. It'll be exciting. It'll be glorious. Together, #We will dominate. Catch Banyana versus Botswana, Sunday 10 July at 6:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sports on DTT Channel 4, OpenView 124, SABC 1, also available on SABC radio stations.
So welcome back to the second half of the game, where we're expecting some explosive starts, as we did see, and it is going to be something the Cameroonians are hoping to come back and get a team moving forward once again. But the expectation obviously will be from the Tunisians to see if they can reply. Well, the fans would love to see if the Cameroonians can really change things, but the bottom line here has to do with the scoreline that's happening there in the other group match between Zambia and Togo, where the Zambians lead by 3-1. And so Lydia comes in to see if she can navigate this game pretty well for the two sides to have a decent game and get the score in that will reflect the positions of both teams here. 3 teams advanced in this particular group, same as Group C. And the permutations already started in terms of what will happen in this group and the teams there. Morocco topped the Group A, and so they'll be waiting for the 3rd best in Group C already. We're looking at what happens tomorrow. And so if Zambia begins or tops this particular group, then they have Senegal to meet. And the 3rd best team in this particular group obviously do have a date there with South Africa, if that is South Africa's able to lead that particular group in Group C. So the mathematics already started. The talking point will continue as we get into the second half. Both teams remain unchanged before the start of the second half here. Coaches are beginning to change their tactics and beginning to, you know, change some narratives around the teams. You'd expect to see something. You'd expect to see what Cameroon can offer in the second half and how Tunisia can contain the Maroon attacks of Michaela Bam and Gabriel Ngweni. Not forgetting Ajara operating from the wide as well. And then the ever skillful, the party girl, Ngombelek, who seemed to have entertained the fans enough, who seemed to be the lady in charge and controlling and boxing things up in midfield as we wait for the coordinators to signal us to start the second half already. It is a special moment for Abam in the 22 shirt. She scored a goal, she celebrated. VAR also confirmed that she wasn't offside when the goal came in. And this lady, she was unused in the 2018 AFCON due to administration reasons, and now part of the squad in the 2019 World Cup in France. And now she scored the first goal for the indomitable Lionesses in this competition here in Morocco. And there we go again. Ladies in white, the Colored Eagles against the Lionesses. They're down by a goal to nil in the first 45 minutes. 3rd minute goal by Michaela Abam. And the Tunisians want to respond immediately.
The Tunisians would really want to respond immediately, just to really try and rotate the ball possession in midfield with Trodi just really running short of that pass. And I think what will be important for the Tunisians to really make sure that the internal distances are quite equal. They're closer to one another to get the intricate passing going.
You always want to start there with a Gabriel Ngweni on the wide right. She's always going to pick up some space in there. Ajara and Abam racing. Mbelek drops the ball down, looking for Ajara again. We see a lot of players who are strapped on the knee in most of the games played, and you're wondering whether there's been a lot of knee injuries to some of these girls playing, especially when it has to do with the energy-sapping games played already. And there's a foul there between the attacking player for the Tunisians. As Algi goes to ground after a little bit of challenge coming through from Awana.
You can't also dispute the fact that most of these games have just really been about physicality. The endurance of the game also plays a huge element, and maybe hence some of the players really come through these games heavily strapped. But you can always trust on the kinesio tape. It sort of does really give the muscle a bit of relief.
There's always going to be a problem there when they played against Zambia. A little bit of the back pass to the goalkeeper nearly resulted in the Zambians getting a second. Meantime, a back pass again. Goalkeeper not able to hit the ball in. Ajara drifted the ball back. And again, Oni was just swerving, not really going in to block that ball. Maybe she wasn't aware of the environment and who was racing to Nikomeni ball that was going into the danger zone.
Could have redirected the ball a bit better in that situation. Really try and recycle until you get an opening, find a teammate. There's no better way into holding to ball possession with just that ball rotation, which is much important for the Cameroonians in the second half.
Stella Johnson. The centre back has given the ball away. Ayani, the right back for Tunisia, again, her ball up front. It's been well cut out there by Claudine. One of the things that's happening to the Tunisians, anytime they concede, they seem to have lost ideas and also given up sometimes. They did not see themselves coming back to equalize against Zambia and allowing the Zambians to win by a lone goal. Zanda again pass to Ajara, cut out. Ngok drops it down to Yango. Claudine. Here comes Ngweni, Gabriel, Ajara here. Mbelek just in front of her, waiting to pounce on the pass that will be given to her. Tunisia will have the advantage. Out here, drifts it down, and she's giving it away to Ngok. Another ball cut out beautifully by the backline Abasi. What you see the Tunisians do is just to string the passes among themselves, not really get into efficient areas. Kabachi now finding space down the wide left. Mamami looking for some bit of space up front, and this time again they failed to do that.
It has to be a bit quicker. They have to move the ball a bit quicker, get into the spaces a lot more faster, because they know what the next action is, and therefore it's always just to make sure that you support a teammate.
And you get that bit of support there from your coach telling you to calm things down. They seem to be in a hurry to get a second. Sure, they've been told the scoreline back in Rabat. Gabriel Ngweni. Oni to the tackle, and she went it away, and Cameroon were the second after Nigeria to reach 50 matches in the WAFCON finals tournament. And now they have a thoroughly new squad with 19 tournament debutants, although not all of them inexperienced footballers. Yellow card again going to Ngok in midfield there for the Cameroonians, and she's been penalized here, sporting the 14th shirt, Monique Ngok.
She's one of those midfielders who really go in quite aggressively as she tried to intercept that one. But yet again, she draws a foul, and I think the referee has been keeping tabs on her. 2 players and missing the next game if they qualify to the quarterfinals. Of course, they do have a place currently as the scoreline remains this way.
and Monique Ngok would not be part of the quarterfinal team. There's yet another opportunity for teams that make it to the quarterfinals, at least the repechage. And some would have to go for the playoff, and Ajara again showing their skills, and it's going to be a foul here against the North Africans. We've got two players who have been on the sidelines after picking up an injury here. Ahuna and Kabach is also going to be fouled, and of course she's going to get the yellow card for their effort. The offensive midfielder Kabachi this evening
playing more of a right winger in this game, and I think that's one of the tactical changes that the coach has instituted. She's normally right up front, and just coming there with your offensive kind of tackle as she was beaten in that certain situation.
Ngombelek. Well, Cameroon have also embraced the diaspora of players enjoying professional careers worldwide, and that's the story that's been going around in this tournament about players who were born to some parents back in Europe, in America, getting a lot of chances against that of local players back home. And if you talk about it, it appears that there's a lot of opportunities that are given out to a lot of our ladies or footballers who want to apply their trade back home or want to change nationality and play for their respective countries of birth.
I think that's what the conversations have been all about this year. Just the inclusion of the internationally based players coming through to this tournament. That only simplifies or means that the standard of African women's football is at that level where it's drawing the much necessary interest for players to come back and represent their countries. But we cannot ignore the fact that sometimes building a national team does depend on your local based players, and that would be your core of the team. As we've seen, I think a lovely story would be that of Banyana. Majority of the players started off at the High Performance Center of the girls back in Johannesburg, and now they play together.
And again, there's the best of decisions there from the Tunisian goalkeeper. And Nigeria goes to Crown in the box, and referee whistles. VAR is going to have a check of that. Was a deliberate foul in the box against Algera. Again, poor goalkeeping, poor decision. Was it an offside position as well? Well, initially we'll be looking at it if the two players were in offside position before this foul.
Joya has really struggled in the past couple of games to really make sure that she checks her surroundings. She's had so many offside calls, and I think with her ability and speed, it's always just easier to drift off the shoulder and buy yourself enough time to thread that ball pass, and you finally get to the end of it.
Well, you obviously want to enjoy the moment and watching this game. No matter your age, football is still the game to watch.
Yeah, no, for sure. You always start them when they're still very young, introduce them gradually into the women's football game, and it's a story for many of us as female footballers. We also started at a very young age, coming just attending stadium games and watching football, and that's how you build the interest.
Good play. And Tunisia looking for some moments there to attack the Cameroonians as Ngon enjoys taking on players. Ajara would want to go with a speed on the wide left. Ajara again until she was stopped in the tracks by Ona. Ajara again. Oh, she's just enjoying the moment, and this time Abang was looking to connect, and Una would want to settle things for the Tunisians, but it's been an amazing start there by the indomitable Lionesses as they've seen their players entertaining the crowd watching, and having to say that this team has come and want to be one of the top teams in the tournament. It's not surprising that they get plaudits from the fans who are watching this game here. Ajara Njoya, who was at some playing times in Russia and the US and Sweden and Norway. He was a member of the 2012 Summer Olympics Games. talking about her being scouted as far back as 2011 at age 15, Najera Njoya. It's a bit of a shocking moment for these Cameroonian side, looking at their impressive performance 4 years ago after their debut World Cup in Canada, progressing from the group before losing in the last 16 to China. They achieved the same back in 2019 in France, and they lost to England in the round of 16 as well. There's a four-tie tackle there against Abam, and the referee's gone into her books for a yellow card to a six-shirted Rinia Arena of Tunisia. Disagrees with the Ethiopian official for the foul there.
I think it's a fair plea for her. She really did ever so well in covering so much ground, considering the speed of Abam. She gets to the ball first, and I guess, like we always say, it as strikers sometimes you have to sell it.
You did show the couple in your heydays. So yellow card to Rania Una, who plays a club football for Avian in France. Belek to the far post. Aja is looking around, and Abam with the final touch on the ball and calling for a corner kick, at least.
Well floated ball there into the penalty area. Abam just really struggling with that aerial duel, but yet again, the captain, Tunisian captain, does ever so well.
Belek in the penalty box. And here comes Abam. Ball reset. Cameroon looking for the second. Tunisia looking to mop the floor and ensure that they are back at the back clean. Seem to be wearing some wary faces and appear very tired already, the Tunisians.
They've had to do a lot of running. They've covered so much ground just amongst themselves. But Ngok there just really getting the referee's final warning, considering that she's on a yellow card.
So Warner was trying to get a ball straight to Abam here. A little sense of belief there in the Cameroonian side prior to this game when the ladies spoke to CRTV back home and did indicate that they want to lift the cup. They're here to stay, they're here to play and fight for every ball. And so they know that this particular header would have to be skilled if they have any chance of going home with a trophy. Estella Johnson echoing the sentiments of some of the ladies back at the camp prior to the match against Tunisia here. Not surprising, they lead by a goal to nil.
And with this kind of performance so far, they've really improved in many aspects of their game, and they certainly are contenders in this championship. They are known as one of those top powerhouses of women's football. They're ranked third, of course, on the African continent, and rightfully so. They have to earn their spot, but it has to be complemented with the kind of football they want to play at this particular tournament.
Cameroon only made their debut back in a major tournament in 2012 when they crashed out of the Olympic Games. And on the competition here, they'll have to find a way back in and waiting Najera to connect across from Belek, who's been given another bite at the cherry with his ball in off the crossbar. And I'm always going to refer to her, the lady who always would start the dance and come there for the Cameroonians, a lady who would always want to start the party in earnest for them early, and she gets it done.
She just has this element of like finesse in her, and just the way she reads the game, the comfort and control of the ball at her feet, just the presence of mind as well, just to make sure that she links play up very nicely. And I'm sure she can get onto the score sheet if it is that she takes her chances.
Now Tunisians will feel that this ball should hit the back of the net. It was an ambitious effort there. The fans were just hoping, and now they can say, well, it was a lovely one. Our cut-off target, and it was out there for that effort. But a change of formation there for the Cameroonians seem to be working, at least in terms of the back three, and going with their wing backs who have had to drift into defensive lines and offensive lines occasionally as they got trying to find a way to get Belek here. And again, the effort wasted. But a lovely run there by Zana.
Zana has come through with some key passes, just really complimenting the strikers with the great runs, just the timing as well of when she chooses to surge forward. She's done really well to really add a bit more of those numbers that they want to have in midfield and up front.
Well, there's going to be a lot of changes there by the Tunisians, who are trying to indicate they have 3 players they want to introduce into the game here. There's a quick response to the dominance of the Cameroonians in midfield. Well, a change is happening there for the Tunisians as they try to pull on Gada Ayadi, and replaced by Yasmina Baumi. So it's a midfielder who's out there for a defender coming into the game. She's played as the right full back, and another substitution here for Imen Churi, who hasn't also cemented her place in the game, and allowing Sumaya Amiri to also replace her. It's going to be a final substitution here, so another midfielder coming in. Churi has always been working on the left wing, and so Ella Kamachi, who's already on a yellow card, and she gives way now for 12 Shetet. Ibtisam Ben Mohamed. So 3 quick changes there for the Tunisians, and they want to find the needed antidote immediately.
2 changes in that central midfield, just with the creativity as well, just to contribute where Sumaya is concerned. She's won good control of the ball and may add to a bit of the creativity in midfield.
It's been 7 tackles won by the Cameroonians against 5, and already seen 16 fouls there for the Cameroonians against 11, and 2 yellow cards apiece. Well, Cameroon have had 3 possession, 1 in the final third of the Tunisians. Just 1 shot of the Tunisians in the half of Cameroon. A lot of passing in the final third going the way of the Cameroonians, 70% of that against 43. Indicate that the Tunisians have done little. Ingo Belek now trying to find a way to get across into the box. But Ajara waiting a little bit of step overs here for Ingo Belek. The entertainer couldn't find Abam. Claudine.
Impressive to see the number of bodies behind the ball for the Tunisians, and just making sure that they are a close unit defensively.
Yango, Ajara. Well, the match against Zambia, the Cameroonians saw a lot of possessions in midfield, 48% of that, and 59 of possessions in the game. But again, lack of communication there and a bit of confusion from Una, and the goalkeeper would have to allow the ball to roll over. Sumia. Tunisia now beginning to find space as they go forward. Good to see Ben Mohamed. She's just going straight onto the wall there and allow the Cameroonians to pick the pieces with Ajara. The flag stays down here. Ingo Belek is just racing down. Ingo Belek in the box. Can she find space? And it is only here with a lovely interception. But the flag eventually had to come up.
A bump just dropping a bit late there as Njoya was trying to locate a court miles away offside. But again, the Tunisians will really have to be mindful of the kind of speed that she has. But I think the Tunisians now really want to set that offside trap, and it's just for the Cameroonians just to make sure that they hold the line, they maximize on the positioning, and just possibly just interchange a bit to create those openings just behind the Tunisians' back four.
We expect Eric Jemba to hope and see what would happen in this game. Expecting a lot of goals there from the team, and did speak about look at the performance of the team in my last conversation with Eric Jemba back in 2021, I should say, at the African Cup of Nations, which of course was held early this year. And he spoke about the support they have for Samuel Eto'o and how they expect that the football is well developed in the country. And at least if they get a little bit of support for the ladies, they will be controlling the continent, even though Nigeria seems to be the banana peel a lot. 5 times they've lost to the Nigerians.
Indeed, and I think it's very important for the Federation, the President, to just echo those sentiments as well, in making sure that they show up and support the ladies.
Tunisia want to make another change, and they are pulling out the number 9 shirted Sabrine Iloji, and in comes 15 shirted Hannah Hamdi, who was born in Tunis. He's in Germany playing a club football there, debut for Tunisia in June 2021, coming on as a substitute for Ella Kabachi against Jordan. And that was 3 days after that she scored her first goal for Tunisia, also against Jordan, in a 2-0 win. And the attacking player now gets a chance to feature in this game here against the indomitable Lionesses, who are up by a goal to nil after 68 minutes of play. Throwing almost everything into the game, Tunisia, and looking at the time and the clock. Perhaps they feel they can't get an equalizing goal. It's Zambia who are really entertaining themselves in the other match. Still leading by 3-1 against the Togolese. This game has been a little bit physical there, and you can see the Monique Ngog going to ground over that tackle.
The Tunisians just making sure that they drop a bit more numbers in midfield to really try and cut the supply from players like Ngok as well in midfield. Yango as well, who's had a good range of passing in this game. So they really just want to try and match up to make sure that they cut off the supply.
She's been isolated up front, the striker for the Tunisians. Miriam Auge hasn't been effective, and again she's been left all alone. Going to fight for almost every ball there.
It must be really frustrating as a lone striker. Because she has been really starved of the ball, the supply. which would really try and create those opportunities. And I do feel the Tunisians in certain moments are playing a bit far from each other. As soon as they get the ball and she makes herself available as an outlet, it takes time for everyone else from the defensive department, midfielders, to then join in the attack, and therefore explains the turnovers that they've had so far in the match.
Well, they've got 19 minutes, the Tunisians, to see if they can't draw this game. Sumaya brought down there by Bam. Occasionally, or most cases, the Cameroonians usually start in a 4-3-3 formation, reliant on the players' hard work and aggressiveness to win games, and they started with a 4-3-3 formation against Zambia, against Togo, and now tweaking the setup now and playing with a 3-back and suffocating the midfield with 4 players, and having to have Imbelek sitting right behind it in the top 2 of Ndoya Jara and Bam. Now they lead by a goal to 0, and hoping they can continue with this tactical situation. See if in the quarterfinals that will work for them.
Certain situations will definitely call for different reactions, and you have to study the team that you're playing against. They knew they could fancy their chances against Tunisia, and therefore the change in formation, the desperation, the situation that they're caught in, they are then forced for a response, and hence they sacrificed a defender to really try and push more numbers up front, and it certainly has worked for them. But a bit disappointing that they still haven't scored as many goals as you would like.
Well, Stella Johnson's high ball up front. Bam trying to use the energy to wriggle her way through. Michaela Bam switching to the wide right, picking up Gabriel Ongweni. Here comes Yango. Again, it's going to be another foul in the box. Ndoya Jara might deal with the situation. The flag had gone up for an offside as well. So this is a very exciting moment there until the goal scorer, her first goal for the team, and she's going to be replaced here after getting the first goal for the team and making them believe that they can have the chance to go through, at least if they're not going to be the team on top of the group. And you can see the goal score there. Beautiful placement there from Michaela Abam, who plays the club football in the USA for Houston Dash, and now she is being replaced, and her position is going to be occupied by Bella Rose. And opportunity now to Fadimatu Kome, who's also coming for Ngombelek. Yellow carded Ingo Monique. He's also being replaced now. So Claudia Dabda, who's also being introduced into the game here. Changes are being made by the coaches to ensure that he gets a lot of fresh limbs up front. Rosabella, who's coming in at least to start the game, and of course the shot in there by Boa is able to deal with it. Rosabella plays a club football in Turkey, played for AS Police in Cameroon and for Malabo Kings in Equatorial Guinea, part of the 2015 team. Again, Claudia Dabda also plays a club football in Belarus. Fadimatu's also been, she started the game against Togo. She was dropped to the bench, and now she's been given a chance to come in here. Who also is in France playing for Soyo. We have an injury concern there for Tunisia here. That's the foul there, and this is a foul by Bella Rose. Just got an elbow there. It's a high one to the chin of the player. Miriam Ouch there.
Rose immediately getting into the physical battle. Still quite interesting what happened to her, but it looks definitely painful. And of course the bench just making complimenting the bruises that they've sustained in this physical battle. And yeah, this is what African women's football is about.
Well, temper's flaring up. Landosi trying to have some bit of a heated argument with the referee for not protecting the attackers, Lydia Tafese from Ethiopia. She was one referee who did officiated in the all-females game back in the African tournament. It was a game between Namibia and Tanzania. It was a tournament back in Cameroon. And that's Bella Rose. First tackle in the game, seems to have created a problem there for Miriam Ouch. Django drifting the ball to the right, and Gabriel Ongwene's ball is just drifting wide.
She hasn't seen much of the action in the second half, and you'd really count on her to give you a quality cross as she's unmarked, and all she had to do was to really try and locate a player in the box.
Another substitution coming in. Sabrine Mamey is also making way for Yasmin Clyde. 23 sheds. Yasmin Clyde played in the Lyon U team in France. She's France born, and she's making her debut, or she did make a debut back in 2021. Appears the Tunisians are trying to shush up because they know that it's going to be a long way out for them. The three teams are going to advance in this group, and perhaps it could be one of them. In fact, they are.
Indeed, they could be one of those teams, and it will really command a bit of more intensity from the Tunisians if it is that they really want to progress in this competition. Yellow cards seem to be flying out in the second half. The referee really trying to get the players just to calm down and not really get so much emotionally invested in the match.
I'll tell you what, the FA president in Cameroon, Samuel Eto'o, set a semi-final target for the Lionesses in this competition. And Njoya drifting it wide. It is Gabriel Ongwene! Plaudits would go to the goalkeeper. Chilema Chaprani for this wonderful save there, but they wouldn't have counted for anything because the flag on the far side had gone up from outside against Ongwene.
The Cameroonians just really maximizing on the turnover. Joya picking up the ball quite nicely to thread it through to Gabriela. But unfortunately, yet again, they found they caught offside, and this keeps happening to these Cameroonian players. They just seem to fail to hold the line. They dominate so much of the ball possession, and it's just always the final touch in the box.
Concerns there for the goalkeeper as we enter the last 10 minutes plus at a time in this game with Ongwene with a point-blank opportunity. He was hoping to make it 2-0. We're just talking about the target set there by Samuel Eto'o to this team. Semi-finals is what he wants them to get to. and he expressed disappointment at the team's performance just about a 4-0 loss to France in a friendly match. And he was hoping the squad absorbed valuable lessons to take into the tournament. Sincerely, that has not been the story, because you look at the performance and how the team has been struggled in this group. They're hoping at least a win here can give them the momentum to feel they can get to the semi-finals, as Eto is expecting from them.
And of course, if they have the kind of quality that the team has, it's one of those ambitions that you would have to make your way through. And we know the financial incentives that come into place as well from the federations, but it's always just making sure that the resources are available to support the ladies. But the Cameroonians, if it is that they really want to be contenders this far, they're going to have to improve, especially in that final third where decision making is concerned, the accuracy of the passing, and maybe just being clinical in front of goal.
I'll tell you what, Samuel Eto'o did say this team is the best in Africa.
Well, we'll wait for that to happen. We have to wait and see.
Well, the fans agree to what Samuel Eto'o is saying, and that's why they're giving it a applaud there for what they're saying.
It's the belief. It has to be the belief. The fans certainly believe that this Cameroonian team is one to contend for the title this year.
Cameroonians are lightening up the plays and giving almost everything to the fans and of course the players. The Lionesses never been crowned Africa's finest after losing finals in 1991, 2004, 2014 and 2016, even when they hosted the competition. We've got legends in the stands watching, and they've enjoyed every bit of the competition here. You do have Rose Bello here, and she couldn't quite connect well with the attacking players. Joya was just racing deep into the penalty box. At least they were late in arriving there, and you could see she was already tumbling after almost getting closer to the goalkeeper.
A defense-splitting pass there from Joya, locating Rose, who still has the fresh legs. And I guess in that instant of the beating the goalkeeper, she just had no alternative plan. But it was just for her to just lift her head and locate a teammate. Yet again, that final third decision-making just seems to be letting down the Cameroonians.
And Grace Chanda scored, making it 4-1 for Zambia. A header there from her. It's a party time in Lusaka. Wow. Cameroon struggling to get a second in this competition. Oh, there's going to be something spectacular in the game. So we've set our sight into the game, and we are seeing what is happening here in this group. Is all you're looking for to see. Just in Group A, the Morocco is just waiting patiently and enjoying their coffee and celebrating the 8th festival, awaiting the best team in 3rd place in Group C. Meantime, Zambia have already booked a date there with Senegal.
It's confirmed. Fireworks are going to start now. And this is where the intensity of the competition kicks in.
One of the things that the Cameroonians were hoping to avoid was not to meet Nigeria or South Africa.
And as things stand,
just don't want to go there and have the conversation going in here for you. And it's been an exciting moment there for the side going into this particular group. We are to the last 5 minutes of the game, and already we're seeing the explosive runs of Cameroon. They're trying to see if they can score yet another goal. They're seeing the runs of the Zambians, and they have enjoyed every bit of it. Sub coming in, and it's Cameroon who are trying to see if they can change the narrative for the substitution here. And it's Flora who's been given a chance to play a part in this game here. Alice Flora Kameni. She's also a futsal player, scored an astonishing 7 goals in a 12-0 win over for a club in the Guinness Super League in April, and she's a very exciting player there for the side. So Zambia, the players are looking at who is going to be second. Of course, I did indicate to you that they have a date there with Senegal. Do you know what I think that's going to be interesting here? Team that places second in Group B goes out to meet the second place team in Group C.
It's quite interesting, Benjamin. I don't want to be in their shoes.
I know there's been something that we're hoping it changes around.
Yeah.
And I know former players of Cameroon who were looking for it not to have this pairing happening. But it's going to be that interesting.
I've been trying to contain myself, and I'm hoping I can contain myself because this conversation will not end.
Well, there was this contention back then that the teams would tell when they said that, okay, fine, you know what? Well, Cameroon can afford to draw with Tunisia, not to avoid that particular team they don't want to meet, but that scenario would have to be settled after the game in Group C.
That particular team that is the life of the party. It's quite interesting. I think WAFCON is always just exciting because in as much as you always think you want to pitch yourself against a certain team, it doesn't always work out like that. You are just served, you know, on your plate a team that you just come across, and it's always just about preparing, readjusting and realigning to make sure that teams are better prepared for their next matchup.
Absolutely, and that's the tournament you are enjoying here. Well, so there's a moment there for them to get a second. Yes, they have. I tell you what, Adjara Joya has gotten a second goal there for Cameroon, and what a time for them to do that. They've been banging at the door. It was not open. Yes, they knew one time it was going to be opened. And Adjara Joya here has certainly put some smiles on the face of Eric Jemba.
A good run there from Joya. She does really well to lay off the pass. Look at her movement. She then gets back into position in the penalty area. Super sub Rose, giving a perfect assist. The weight of the pass, and this is what you expect from the Cameroonians when they get into that final third. It's always about locating a teammate unmarked as she gets on the score sheet for the first time in this tournament.
As we head get into minutes 4 minutes at a time with Rosbello with this lovely ball. The Inter Milan forward, Ajara Njoya, who's made 18 appearances for Inter Milan in Italy and scored 8 goals. Finally get to score here in the competition.
You'd swear that the stadium is jam-packed to full capacity as we hear the loud voices of the Cameroonian supporters really chanting their team all the way through the 90 minutes. Yet again, the Tunisians just punished critical phases of the game, tired legs. You can't imagine, but they really ran their socks off. But a well-deserved goal there from the Cameroonians as Rose really just sets that one up nicely for Njoya, who says thank you.
Yeah, so thank you. You can see the face there. 15-shirted player there for Tunisia. Hana Hamdi. Njoya says that her family discouraged her from playing football, preferring that she instead focuses on education.
It's always a conversation and decision for all of us. But now the new message is we have to really try and complement education with sport. That's why we always try to get female footballers actually as well to get into the habit of balancing both education and sport, which is not easy, but it's one thing that we always want to encourage.
As the Tunisians try to search for Sumaya, and Sumaya would want to try some ambitious effort there from a long range out, and disappointment there. They scored 4 against Togo, conceded 1 there. They conceded against Zambia, and now they've conceded 2 goals, and so they scored 4 and have conceded 4 as well. So leaky backline there for the Tunisians as well in this group.
And if it is that they want to stand a chance of progressing further than this group stage, they have to make sure they are disciplined in that back four.
Well, they've been very vociferous in pushing the team forward to see if they can have the opportunity of coming back into it, and with the support there from Jemba, who represent the former players in the Cameroonian FA, and also here to spur the team on. They have been carrying that motivational message from Samuel Eto'o that says that they are the best team in Africa, and they are leading by 2-0 against Tunisia.
It's all about the belief. I keep saying that, and one thing about the Cameroonians, they always fight to the last whistle. They always have that sense of belief, and we really look forward to seeing them in the next stage.
Here we go there with Zana down. Could be the final there for the Cameroonians to see through this game against Tunisia. And Michaela Abam with a 3rd-minute goal, and of course having to see the ever pacey, ever committed, ever excited Ajara Njoya getting the 2nd there for Cameroon, sealing off their fate in the group, and going to Zambia, smashing Togo. Clearly indicates that Cameroon will stay 2nd on the group. Ball whipped in again into the far post, and Cameroon have a chance to see if they can get a 3rd. A flag got up for an offside, and certainly the final there for the side. And so Lydia, the first from Ethiopia, sends the signal clear to the 2 teams on the field there. Cameroon scrapping through, and leads with a 2-0 win. Michaela Abam smiles there for Stella Johnson, and Njoya making it a 90th-minute strike to make it 2-0 for the Indomitable Lionesses. For the Tunisians, they'll be hoping at least 3rd place will be helping them going forward. An exciting time here in the office there. Cameroon 2, Tunisia 0, full-time score. Best player there, Ajara Njoya, and she's been an amazing player in this game, and you can see the smiles there by the Cameroonians. They have been fighting And for now, they are looking forward to the team that will play second in Group C. And as it starts now, appears that South Africa would have a date with Tunisia. Nigeria, maybe. If it does happen, they might have to meet Cameroon. Let's see how it goes.
Tot dusver het Decca 4 albums vrygestel. Hierdie twee musikante is 'n dodelike kombinasie en agter die twee stelle blou oë skuil daar groot nederigheid en enorme talent. Kom kyk Decca TV Woensdag aand 7:30 net op SABC2.